identity and access management. Right? If I have to pick one, what would be the most important thing in security? Like the first one which we will handle, I think it would be like, to me, it would be IAM, right? Because we could have the best security in place, but if someone can steal admin credentials, none of that is going to be effective, right? So when we talk about IAM, we need to think from the perspective of the life cycle of IAM, right? For example, a person comes in, their identity is, their user account is requested, it's approved, they start using it, their role change. Now they may not need the permissions that they were assigned initially, or they may leave the organization. So we need to have these life cycle hooks to basically, whenever this life cycle event happens, we take the appropriate action. For example, when the person leaves the organization, of course, their account should be deleted, right? So that's one important thing to keep in mind. Now, and this is one of the challenges as well. Some of the other challenges are, if we take the same example, a person joining an organization that has like multiple cloud accounts, right? Which is very common these days. Even smaller companies are going to have like multiple cloud accounts. Like you have an organization and you have an account for specific, let's suppose, environment, staging, production, dev, right? So now for this person, you would need to create an account in their in the organization's directory space. You would need to create an account in all of their cloud accounts, right? You would need to create accounts in, this is the bad implementation, right? The worst case scenario. You would need to create account for all the applications that the organization uses, right? So obviously this is something which doesn't work, doesn't scale. It's a maintenance nightmare, right? So we need something centralized. And that is where we have identity federation, right? And one of the implementation of that is through SSO, single sign-on, right? So besides, in addition to the cloud security module, which I'm going to talk about now, this is one thing that needs to be in place in order to efficiently manage identities, right? The other challenges are old and forgotten identities that are just there lying around. People have left the organization but are still there. A lot of the breaches happen through the AWS secret key and access key just being exposed, right? Being in source code, being on locally on people's computers, right? So that's a major challenge. And the other challenge is excessive permissions. Like even in mature organizations, I've seen or people struggle with implementing. We all talk about implementing principle of least privilege access, but in practice, I haven't seen it a lot, right? So that is another challenge. Okay, you start, and I'm complicit in this. Someone is doing something. I need this permission, that permission. After a few, back and forth, we just give him admin permission, and then that's it. And he just has the admin permission forever, right? So we need something which basically monitors. So one thing that we know is that initially, people will start with some level of excessive permission, right? But over time, once we can identify their pattern of usage, we could have something that could monitor the permissions that they have been using and just create a permission policy that just includes those actions, right? And then we need something which continuously does that, because over time their role might change. They may need more permissions, or existing permissions need to be removed, right? So what is that? That is called cloud infrastructure. It's a long word. Entitlement management, right? CIEM. So it exactly caters to these challenges that I mentioned. Besides the centralized management, which obviously is handled through identity federation, right? So a CIEM solution is basically going to, I'm not going to repeat, address those challenges that we just mentioned. In addition, these solutions also provide anomaly detection. So now you have something that is able to track user activities. You just throw in machine learning there, right? And you are able to identify the pattern. And if there is any anomaly against that pattern, you could raise basically an alert, right? This is a common implementation of anomaly detection in this space. The other thing specifically, some CIEM solution may not do it, but like, for example, if you look at AWS's Access Analyzer, they also monitor any resource that you expose externally, either to like the public or even to external accounts. Those would be flagged, right? And those obviously, like, publicly exposed S3 buckets are a major cause of data breaches, right? So that is another essential function which a CIEM solution is going to provide. Just for completeness sake, I consider secrets management to be also part of IAM. And there would be some topic that I'm just going to skim over, but feel free to ask any question now or during the Q&A session.